All right, so it is good to see you guys. Hey, Jariah. It's good to see you all once again. Today is, what's today? Ooh, today's October the 15th. Just looking at my calendar. And we are moving right along. We're kind of in midterm. So I just want you to remember that you guys have, I think pretty much this group that I'm seeing on the screen have already turned in your midterm pitches. So your midterm pitch was due October, whatever Sunday was. I think that was October the 11th for your midterm story. And pretty much everybody on the screen right now has turned it in, and I'll be giving some feedback as soon as this class, and I have one more class after this is over. And some people I've already talked to. Those people who are going to be watching the video, and if you haven't turned it in, so far for this particular class, I've only received 8 pitches turned in on Sunday, and that's not good. So we got to make sure that we're staying up on our work. If you're having any problems, you got to let me know. I know it's difficult with this online thing, but we just got to make sure you stay up. The key thing is, logging into your class. If you don't log in every day, at least about 3 to 4 times a week, and just making sure you pace yourself. For those people who are going to be watching this recording, you've got to make sure that if you don't join us on our weekly class meeting, that you're watching the videos every week. And I know it's, you can't like reach out and touch us, but at least you can kind of get the feeling of being in the class with us. So that's real important. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about, hold on, let me set this up on here before I go to your class. Let's talk a little bit more about the midterm story, and then we'll go into our lesson today. All right, let's see if I can share. All right, let me get a student. Just let me know if you can see my screen that says writing and reporting, and we're on the home page.
Yes, we can see
Okay.
you.
Thank you. I had some problems yesterday. I was in a meeting, I was trying to share, and it wouldn't share anything. All right, so anyway, if students are confused, and you say, what's going on? You can always go to your tab that says syllabus and resources. And I have directions for you there. The syllabus is there. Your AP guide, AP style guide is there, as well as the directions for your midterm story, writing the pitch, and the story assignment. Okay. Now, let me talk a little bit about the news story, the midterm news story. A few people that turned in their news stories, they're really good, but I just want you to make sure that you're following the directions. A couple people, you turned in a pitch, but you didn't follow the directions. So let's talk about, let me see if I can get this out the way. So let's talk about the directions, and then I'll stop talking and answer any questions you may have. So everybody, for our midterm story, your assignment is to write about an issue or problem that people are having. And this particular story is going to be focused on AMSC. You're going to identify an issue of interest to students, and you're going to develop a story around that. So for example, it could be, I know we're not physically on campus, but well, some people are, but there are a lot of still issues and stories and things that are going on. People have issues with the online classes, or maybe their books, or some people are transferring. Some people, a lot of different things that are going on. Maybe people are going to school and also trying to raise their kids and help their kids go to school at the same time. So there are a lot of issues or concerns, put it like that, concerns that students may have. You will need to substantially report the issue, include your sources. So it could be other students, it could be a teacher you want to talk to, a staff member. However, remember, don't put yourself in danger. You don't have to go and be in front of anybody. Always practice social distancing. And for this assignment, the best thing for us right now is probably email or phone calls. Now, if everything was right in the world before, like when I was teaching this course before COVID hit, we were able to schedule interviews. We could walk around campus. We could talk to people. And we're going to get back to that one day, hopefully, really, really soon. But in the situation that we're in, I am not telling you to be in anybody's space or violate your social distancing. You can interview people over the phone or email. All right. And okay, so I kind of just paraphrased that right there. And for those people who have not turned in your pitch, you are really behind. And so the pitch right here was due on Sunday, and that's for a grade. But that assignment simply said, what I want to talk about is this. And then it's just a 1-paragraph thing that says, this is my story, and this is the reason why I want to talk about it. I think people are going to be interested because of X, Y, Z. Okay. Now, let me stop share, and I'm going to go back to this again. Now, I want to talk to you about the actual article that you're working on. So for those people who have passed go, let me come back. Actually, let me go back. Okay, and I'm going back to syllabus and resources section again, okay? And for those people who, you got your pitch out the way and you're ready to roll, I have a news story example right here for you. You can read that. But today I want to talk about how to write your lead, and then we'll talk about the news story inverted pyramid. So let's just talk about this real quick, how to write a lead. And I wish we were in in physical class so we could write some things down. Okay, hold on. There we go. Your lead is your story. Excuse me. Your lead is the first sentence of your story. And in your lead, you want to tell kind of what your story is going to be about. I want to, let me see if I can get you an example. Okay, let me hear from a student. Let me know if you can see my example on the screen, and it should say how to write a lead over here on the left, and then you might see summary lead in the middle. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, cool, thank you. All right, so a lead is your first sentence of your article. First sentence of the article. And the lead is one sentence that kind of tells where the article's going. Let's look at this one. 2 Hamilton County commissioners plan to force the county's top administrator out of office today. Oh my goodness. So we don't know everything that article is going to talk about, but somebody got an idea? Do you have an idea of what that article is going to be about? Somebody's going to get in some trouble, right? Let's look at this one. I'm right here. So remember, the lead is the first sentence in your article. Here's one. On more than 170 occasions this year, lobbyists failed to file disclosure forms when they visited Clark County commissioners, leaving the public in the dark about what issues were pushing excuse me, about what issues they were pushing and on whose behalf. All right, so we got some information going here. We have more information about the representatives and all that good stuff, but we see that somebody's going to get in trouble or in trouble. Lobbyists failed to file disclosure forms. And we see that this article is probably going to uncover some more dirt about what they failed to do. Okay. Let me show you one more. This is from an article in 2005. It says, from Dan Ralasku's sun-warm beach chair in Thailand. The Indian Ocean began to look oddly, not so much like waves, but bread dough. Ooh. Now that kind of leaves us on an angle that something is about to happen. Okay, something is about to happen. So this is just an example. I sent you, this link is an example on how to write a lead. And once again, somebody tell me, where does the lead sentence go? Where does the lead sentence go?
That's the beginning, right?
At the beginning. Very good. At the beginning. So this is your lead off. And we're going to look at some more examples today, but I just wanted to show you where all this good stuff is. We have a lot of resources in here. Sometimes, you know, we just forget to check it out. All right. I thought I could make that bigger. Okay, everybody, here's one more thing I want to show you before we get into our lesson. Let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger. All right, everybody see my pyramid on the screen?
Yes.
Okay. There we go. Make that a little bit smaller. All right. So when you start writing your news story, your midterm news story, I want you to kind of use this upside down triangle to kind of help you out a little bit in terms of organization. All right, so we just said earlier that your lead is your first sentence. That's the main thing that goes up top. What is it? The lead's going to hold your most important information. You have the who, what, when, why, where, and the how. Okay, and that goes in the first part. That's the first sentence. So you're going to hook us into your story with the lead. Okay, and then the second part in your organization as you're pulling it together is the body. This is all the crucial information. And I hate this. Like if we were in class, I still might assign you something. We had newspapers and we could write on the newspapers and we could find different things. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of that today, but we just have to do it as a group. And in the body, you find crucial information. You find some more background. You might get evidence, some details, some quotes. Okay, you get more expansion. You get all of the other paragraphs that you'll need to back up about what happened. Okay, and then the last part, you see how our triangle starts really broad and then it gets tiny down at the bottom. The tail has any type of extra information that you might want to add in. It might be interesting, you know, maybe some extra content about where to find something else, maybe a website, any type of extra information, but it's not real crucial information. Okay, and that will go in the tail. So you have the lead, the body, and then the tail. And remember, in the lead, you want to answer those questions, the who, what, when, why, where, and how. Okay. So don't get scared. We're going to come back to this. in our workshop today. Okay. All right, I'm coming back to you. We're going to talk about spot news today, and I hope to get through most of this. We may not get through all of it because it can be a little bit longer than I want to get to an exercise that we'll do together. All right, so we're going to jump into chapter 5, which is spot news. What do we mean by spot news? So spot news is like specialized news, something special that you want to cover. We're not necessarily talking about the national news stuff, not that regular stuff. So I want you to look right here on the screen. And we're going to talk about a beat. Anybody heard of that word, a beat? We usually hear it in music, right? But this isn't music, but a beat is a specialized type of reporting. So for example, on, I think it's Channel 2, Clark Howard does like the specialized reporting about consumer business and things like that. So that would be, he has a beat. So a reporter might specialize in something like entertainment, sports, health. If you watch like CNN, Dr. Sanjay Gupta always comes on and talks about health and what's going on with the COVID crisis. In a newsroom, a regular newsroom, sometimes they don't do a lot of this type of reporting. And when I mean a lot, like every day on the news. Why do you think they don't do a lot of it? Of beat reporting?
I'm sorry. What was the question?
Okay, sure. Okay, so during the course of a day, if we watch the news, we'll see, what are we going to see at the top? We're going to see the regular news, like who died, right? What's going on in politics, what's going on in the nation, what's going on locally, right? We're going to get the weather and sports. But why do you think newsrooms don't do a whole lot of beat reporting? Like beat reporting would be something specialized like in health, entertainment, sports, business. Not sure.
That's a really good question.
So imagine if we had a lot of our time on our newscast dedicated to health reporting. Do you think that that would be a good use of time and focus on health reporting when we got all this other stuff going on? Yeah, so that's the reason why they may not, it's not to say that they don't do this type of reporting. They do, but they can't spend a lot of time just focusing on how to get the best airline ticket, because there's so many other crisis type of things that are occurring. Now, here's a question I want to hear from all of my students that are on the line right now, that are online right now. If you were a journalist or a reporter, what do you think would be your beat? What do you like most? So I want you to think about, okay, so for example, up here, beat reporting specializes in something, like maybe business or government or whatever. Okay. So if you had a beat and if you were a reporter, what would be your specialization? I'm going to come to Brandon. What would be your specialization? Okay. You guys are on mute. Jariah. Everybody's on mute. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Joseph, what would be your beat?
Would festivities count, such as events or
Yes.
fundraisers?
Yes, so Joseph would be like our around town reporter, you know. So let's say like every week Joseph would find an event that's going on. I know we're in COVID, but there seems like there's more stuff happening now. So he would go out and maybe find a new restaurant that opened in the midst of COVID. He would find a outdoor festival or something. There's a fair going on. I saw a fair somewhere. Can't remember where I saw it. I think it was up in Cobb. And so Joseph would go around town and he'd say, hey, this is what's happening this week. Joseph, go ahead. You had your mic open.
Oh, yes. I was gonna say there was a fair recently. My siblings, they went.
Yeah. Where was it?
It had to be, I believe, 2 weeks back, when it was still, I think they just ended it, but it was
Oh,
still.
right. So very good. So Joseph would be our around town, the reporter. Anybody else, if you had a beat, what would you like to do? Okay. Well, if not, you could type it in the chat. We're going to go back to our lesson. But everybody has, you know, and I just say that everybody has their own thing that they really love. And you can see it when the reporter does what they like to do, you know.
Yeah, I think I do politics, Professor.
Politics.
Yeah,
Very good. Very good.
I like politics.
And you could tell. You could tell when that person loves it. Uh-oh, this is the wrong link. When that person loves it. All right, sorry guys, I got a bad link on that one. Coming right back to you, hold on. You could tell when the reporters are out and they really enjoy what they do, it just comes out of them, as opposed for, okay, so who said politics? Who was that?
That was me, Professor Luis.
Luis. Okay, so Luis, if you put me on politics, I don't really like it. So,
No?
no, I watch it so that I understand, but I don't really like it. But now, if you were to put me there, I would be like, you know, and you could tell that person doesn't really like it. But when the person is just all into it, it really makes the story come alive. So let's look at channel 2. And I want you to get an example of specialized reporters. So anyway, you probably are familiar with the anchors. I love Fred Blankenship. He's so animated. Carol Sabard, okay. Wendy, Monica, okay. All right, and so they're a little bit more specialized. These aren't reporters, but they are the meteorologists, weather people. They're specialized into, what's his name? Zach Klein and Allison I'm gonna mess her name up. They're specialized in reports. But these people we would call a little bit more on beat reporting, investigative reporters. Jim Strickland, Richard Belcher, they're not going to report on the regular stuff. They investigate stuff. Nicole Clark, Winnie, Justin Gray. Okay. Somebody mute your microphone. Mute your microphone. And we have some other journalists here, and they're going to be a little bit more specialized. So they might not catch everything. Okay. All right, so that's just an example. We'll go back to our PowerPoint. Everybody make sure that you have muted your microphone. Jariah, I don't know where you are. Make sure you mute your mic. Let's see if I can mute it. I think I got it. Okay. All right, let me come back to you. I'm going to pull up, anybody heard of Paul Howard? Not Paul Howard, excuse me, I gave you the wrong, that's the other man. Clark Howard.
No.
Okay.
The name
Clark
sounds very familiar.
Yeah, he's the one on Channel 2. And this is an example of specialized reporting. Okay, I'm gonna come back to you. Make sure I'm sharing. Okay, I don't think that worked. Let's make sure you could hear it because there we go. Let's include computer sound. Here we go. All right, so here's an example of specialized reporting. This is Clark Howard.
There, odds are you will have a huge range. So how can you be the person who spent the least on a plane ticket? New at 4, Channel 2 consumer advisor Clark Howard tells us the cheapest time to buy that ticket.
Is your idea of fun in the summer hanging out at maybe a pool at a resort or going to the mountains or wherever your excitement would be? How do you get there at the lowest possible fare? How do you know what the best day is to buy your ticket? Well, I have always believed that the best time to buy is early week. Now there's new math formulas that show that's absolutely true. Now, depending on who you trust, generally, it's Tuesday or Wednesday is the cheapest day of the week for you to buy a ticket to wherever in the world you want to go. Monday, in my book, is the runner-up. Now, where should you look? One thing I like for you to do is go to kayak.com and set up a fare alert for the place or places you're interested in going. When the fare moves, Kayak will email you and let you know that there's a bargain waiting. I'm Clark Howard.
Okay, and so that's just an example of that's an example of a specialized reporter. I had a question. All right, so let's go back to our lesson. Get back to our PowerPoint. And so Clark Howard would be more so like a business reporter or something like that. Now let's talk about another type of specialized reporting, and that's education. And I think if I was a reporter, I would like to be an education reporter. And in the education reporting, let's see if I can open it. Sorry, everybody. Sorry about that. So in an education reporter, they check out what's going on in the local school districts and everything. And my goodness, if you're an education reporter now, you think they got a lot to report on? So let's go right here.
Not necessarily.
Oh, it's a lot, Joseph, with these kids out of school. Well, I don't want to say out of school.
Yeah, you're right. Never mind. Oh, I was thinking. Actually, I was. The reason I said not necessarily is because COVID, but actually, they do have a lot to report on, like you were saying. My apologies.
Yes, it's a lot. Let's see if I can click this. So we're going to look at the AJC, and you guys can always look at this on your computer. And we're going to look at the AJC, and actually I can just go to the website. And we're going to go to the AJC, and let's just, and you can do, you can do this on your own, but we're going to go to education. Let's see if we can get to education. I hate their websites, are just terrible. Okay, can everybody see my screen? It says Get Schooled blog from AJC. Did it go through?
No.
Yeah.
Somebody say yes?
No, ma'am. Not yet.
It seems like there's always a delay when I switch.
There we go.
All right.
I see it.
Yeah, it always seems like there's a delay. So for example, if you were a reporter and you said, you know what, I'm going to focus on education. Oh boy, there's so much to talk about. Here we have Atlanta School District delays work return for central office staffers. So they're not even back in there and they want the kids to come back to school. Atlanta committee molds 5 new names. Oh, for Grady High School. Didn't know that. And just anyway, you have just more information about what's going on with the schools, something going on with University of Georgia needs to step up response to racism. Okay, so anyway, you have stories on students, colleges, local school systems, everything that's going on in the metropolitan area. So I think if I was a reporter, I'd probably be an education reporter. Okay, so maybe if that's not you, anybody like entertainment? Who likes
That's also a good one.
entertainment? Okay, so some of you may say, well, my beat might be entertainment or the community. Okay, so now let's pretend that we're going to do what's called a kicker. If you look up there at the top, a kicker is like a feel-good story. Excuse me. And a feel-good story might go to the end of a newscast. And usually they put them at the end because we beat them up throughout the whole newscast because it's just depressing stuff anyway. But you want to end with a good note. And so let's talk a little bit. Let's pretend that we're reporters. What are some things that you think that we could add? Anything good going on in the community or something about entertainment that we could add to today's newscast? Any good, oh, I think there's a movie coming out. I don't know how it's coming out, but there's a movie, I want to say something about grandpas in it. I forgot the title of it. Give me an example of another feel-good story.
Would you say finding missing people, such as children, would you say that's a good example?
Yeah, that would be really good. Like, well, you know, I'm gonna back up. Maybe not the child. That would be a big story. That would probably go into the newscast. But maybe finding the missing dog, a missing cat or something like that. I've seen stories like that. You've seen those kind of stories where the dog's been gone for years.
Yes.
The dog somehow finds his way back home after a year, and it's been COVID and 2020 has been a mess. And then lo and behold, this dog comes back home. That's a feel-good story.
I think another one would probably be, say, like a senior citizen who survived COVID-19, and they probably have a birthday coming up, and they're celebrating the birthday and surviving COVID-19.
Yeah, very good. And actually, I saw
That's a good one.
I think the lady she was over 100.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. I saw, well, she didn't have COVID, but I did see a story like that. And the lady, they were just celebrating her birthday. I want to say she was 103. Those type of stories, they are feel-good stories. It just makes you feel better.
This is true.
Okay. Anybody like the environment? So we're going to talk about the environment. If you are an environmentalist, you just love the outdoors, this might be your beat. And there are a couple of things if we're going to report about the environment. We can't be just give them half stuff. We got to make sure that we do a few things. So look at this here. So you got to learn the issue. One of the issues that people report a lot on with the environment is like global warming. So if you're going to be a reporter on that, you gotta do some science work. You got to figure out what is global warming, how does it manifest itself, what's going on. But you got to maintain your opinions. You know, you don't want to be skeptical about everything and say, oh, well, I don't believe. You got to research stuff, seek out different viewpoints, look at the people who don't believe, right? And then also look at the science that really does believe that we just might be blowing something up. We might be messing up our environment if we don't do X, Y, and Z. If you're an environmentalist reporter, you want to ask all the right questions. What's going to happen if we keep driving these cars? What's going to happen if we keep riding these buses? Okay. And then report the story fairly. Let me hear from a student. What do you think we mean by that? Report the story fairly.
Would you say has to do with objectivity?
Exactly. Exactly. So let's say Joseph is our environmentalist reporter, and he goes out and he tells us all the bad stuff about our air quality. Well, oh my goodness, what are we gonna die? Well then, but then if he gives us both, well, the air is bad, but this is what we're doing, and we're lowering emissions, and our emissions has been going down for the last 10 years or whatever. And if he reports both sides, then we get it. Okay, but we don't want reporters out there just giving one side to the story. That's not fair. That's not good. Okay, so now if we were in, not sure how we can do this. We were in class, we were going to put together a newscast. We're going to do something a little bit different today. And I do want to talk about two different sections of the newscast. Okay, so let's talk about local government. We're going to talk about the weather, and then we'll get to our next exercise. So the local government has been busy. What's our main story about government and politics right now?
The election.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. That's a really good one.
Yeah. The top story is who's voting, how many people are voting. I hope you all, and I'm going to just keep pounding it into you. You got to watch the news. You got to read the newspaper daily. Even after this class, we've got to be informed people. We are minorities, and we don't want anybody telling us the story. We should know the story for ourselves. And it was really encouraging to see on Monday. I voted on Monday, and the line where I went was not very long. I waited an hour, which was pretty good. But they said that Georgia broke a record for the first day of early voting. We broke a record. And so local government is being affected, national government is being affected. But right now, when you turn on the news, they're going to lead first with local government, just in case something big national didn't happen. There's so many different things to cover at the local level. So now let's talk a little bit as reporters. You all are my reporters. What counties do we have represented here? I live in Fulton County. Anybody else?
Fulton, DeKalb,
Fulton, DeKalb.
Henry. De- I said DeKalb. What's another one?
Clayton.
Yeah, Clayton. I live in Clayton. That's duh.
Okay. So we have, let's use those four. We have Fulton, DeKalb, Henry, and Clayton, right, as examples. And of course, we have more counties that in the Atlanta metropolitan area. But okay, now this is what I want you to do. Now in the cities, we have counties, right, that we live in. But we may live in a different city, right, in that county. Now, this is what I want you to do. In your chat, and I'm gonna come back to in your chat box, I want you to, you can use your phone or you can open up another browser. Type in the name of the mayor, the city you live in. Do you know that some people don't even know their mayor's name? And if you don't know, I want you to Google it. I want you to figure it out, find out who it is. Put it in the chat box when you have it. And one way to find that, if you don't know, you can access the mayor or your city's website. All of them have a website. City of East Point, Union City, Morrow. What's another one? Hateville. What do we have around us? Of course, Atlanta. How can we forget Atlanta? And we got to tell they're not from Atlanta. Okay, that Mayor Keisha Lance Bottom is the mayor of Atlanta. Everybody thinks, you know, she's the mayor of everybody. Okay. Another thing that I want you all, you don't have to do it right now, but as reporters and just as informed citizens, we got to know who's on our city council. When do they meet? Every city has a council. This is the governing body for where you live. These are the people that you ought to reach out to first. Let's say if there's a whole bunch of trash or something on your street and you didn't do it and you're sick of it, we need to contact the city council. Okay. All right. So what did we find out the mayor's names? Do we have any yet?
Yeah, it's in the chat.
Oh. Okay. Deanna Holiday, yeah, of East Point. Mayor Henry County, okay, is Billy Copeland. Bobby Cartwright, Clayton County. Okay, Bobby Cartwright and Billy Copeland, are they the mayors of the county or of a particular city in Henry County or?
Well, I looked up them. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Well, mine's is the mayor.
Oh, that's the mayor. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I looked up the mayor of Henry County, and the first thing came up was the mayor is Billy Copeland. So
Billy Copeland. Okay.
yeah, I didn't even know the mayor of Henry County. So that's on me.
Got you. So there'll be like a local city that you might live in, a person might live in. And I'm not sure for each county, but there should be for each city, but there should be a mayor. But okay, let's go back because we're running out of time. We're going to go back and talk about weather. And I think we're going to finish the rest of this next week. Let's end right here with weather. And I want to show you guys something. Now, most of us, you know, this is probably the thing that we want to know the most, right? Is it going to rain? What's the weather going to be like? Is it going to be hot and sunny? Especially if there's something going on with the weather, if there's a hurricane, tornado, or something going on, we've got to make sure that we are informed. So the weather has its own niche. There are AMS certified meteorologists, and that person has been to school for meteorology. All right, but you might hear somebody called the weatherman or the weather lady. What's the difference? Does anybody know the difference between the weatherman, weather lady, and the meteorologist?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay. So the meteorologist is certified. Okay.
Oh.
They're AMS certified. So they've been to school. They probably have a bachelor's in meteorology or geology or something like that, and they've passed that board to be AMS certified. So they're higher up than the weather person. Now, any of us can go on right now and possibly audition to be a weather lady or weather man, okay? But we don't have all of the weather background and education that the AMS certified meteorologist has. And so that's why on certain news stations, they'll say, so-and-so is AMS certified. We have AMS certified weather. And that means we have the top of the line person, you know. Like their person isn't just guessing. And I shouldn't say guessing, but they've been to school, you know, and they should be recognized for that. So the weather person is very important. They should be upbeat. They should not put you to sleep. I'm going to show you some examples. And so that's what we're looking for. We're looking for upbeat people when the weather comes through. Okay, so this man, we won't watch the whole thing, but this man, meteorologist, should I say, he's not a man. This is from the Weather Channel. And this is just to give you an example. You have to do a lot of description, and the meteorologist has to be very involved, very scripted. Okay, so that just gives us an example when we're watching the news. We don't want somebody saying, "Yeah, it's gonna rain today." You know, that person has to be very, very upbeat, very lively, and interactive, not just with their graphics, but also interactive with the audience as well. Okay. All right, before we go, we'll come right back to you. I'm going to put up an article from the AJC, and let me get this off of here. And so if we were in class, in regular class, in front of each other, we would have newspaper in front of each other and we could write on it. But let's just take a regular article and look at some things and see how it's organized. So once again, what is the first sentence of a news article called?
That's the lead, right?
That's the lead. Somebody read the lead for me. What's the lead in this article?
Atlanta Public Schools pulled back on a plan to return more employees to central and district offices this week, citing a bump in local COVID-19 cases.
Awesome. Thanks, Louise. We can see exactly what this article is going to be about. Atlanta Public Schools, they're not letting their employees come back to the office because COVID cases are going up in the area. Isn't that something? All right. And now we're not going to read this whole thing, but remember in that upside down triangle, you get more details. Now we're going to figure out why. Why aren't they coming back? They had planned to bring them back. So it said APS had planned for district office staffers to begin reporting on a staggered schedule this week. They had been working remotely for months, of course, you know, since March, right? Superintendent Lisa Herring recently instructed central office employees who have been teleworking to continue to do so this week. All district offices are closed to the public. We have a quote. I think this is from the superintendent. This is real interesting. And I think the kids went back to school or going to go back to school maybe. Oh, I take that back. Okay. APS plans to give some special education students and students in pre-K through 5th grade the chance to resume in-person learning. What? October the 26th. Students also had the option of remaining virtual. Okay, so in the body of the article, you get more details. So if we had a chance to read all of this, you can read this later. And we get the reason why. In recent days, the rate has trended upward. On Wednesday, it was 135 cases per 100,000 residents over the last 2 weeks. That's not good. Okay, so anyway, we're going to go down to the bottom of the story. Let's see if I can get to the end. I think this is the end of the story. And remember, the end of the story should just have some extra little information that's not really, you know, it's not like a kicker that we needed it in the body. And in the kicker here, they just kind of, I shouldn't say kicker, but at the end here, they just kind of compare Atlanta to another smaller school system in Decatur. And they were, I'm not sure if you heard about this, but they were going to return to school, but then they had announced, their superintendent, David Dude, I think that is, announced he revised those plans and would delay the return for most students until January. Okay. All right, so anyway, that is an example, just an example of a real news article, and we're able to pull out the lead and look at all of the good stuff in the middle and check out the tail. All right, how you guys doing?
I'm good.
Okay, everybody, well, we're going to pause right here. So the work that you're working on, keep working on your midterm story. That's your assignment for this week. And so the midterm story is due Sunday, the 25th. Okay. So this week, you're working on your midterm story, right? Any questions? All right, well, if no questions, I will, let's see. What's next week? 22nd. I'll see you all next week.
Have a good one.
All right.